Alright folks, second project in a row. For some reason the bit or the CNC has come out of alignment and it dug in really deep. I don't know if you can see where it's actually cut through here, and the bit is just way out of place. So I don't know if it's the depth of my 3D model that's pulling on my bit and either pulling the CNC out of alignment, pulling the router out of alignment. I did slow it down some. Last time I had it set to inches instead of millimeters. So we're going to go back and start this over again and see if we can do something better. So, unfortunately, the project I have been dying to work on just hit the fail list. So we're going to start out the roughing pass here with the a quarter-inch bit. We're going to have the feed rate set at 700 and the plunge rate at 290. We're going to be taking a 40% step over, and we're going to be taking a deep pass. We're going to take just shy of an 1/8 inch pass on this machine tonight. So this should be a fairly quick pass for the roughing bit, and the finishing bit we're going to run a little bit slower than normal because I have some deep cuts to make. So we'll see you guys in a little bit in the time lapse. Hey guys, so you'll notice that I stopped the CNC machine in the middle of the finishing pass for this project. It's actually been 5 days since I've touched the CNC machine. It has been turned on for 5 days. The reason I stopped the machine in the middle of that finishing pass was it didn't sound right. And I was out in the kitchen, and the tone of the CNC machine changed. The tone of my router, my DW611 router. The workhorse powerhouse behind my CNC machine. I love this router. This thing gives me everything I could ever want. I have never had a problem with it until this project. And it has nothing to do with the router. The router is perfect. I love this machine. I don't know anything about power tools, maintenance, power tool maintenance. I know basic stuff. I could change a power cord. I could do basic stuff. I don't know anything about motors. If something went wrong in my car and I was told to clean the spark plugs, it would take me a while to figure out where the spark plugs were. I know what they look like and what they, the basics. I honestly don't even know how to get the little cover off the spark plugs. I don't mess with engines. It's not my skill set. I'm a medical person. I have learned quite a bit. But when the motor quit in my router, I had not a clue what was wrong. It started making this horrible noise, kind of like a helicopter taking off, kind of a whirring, missing sound. I thought I bent the bit. That's actually what I thought I did. So I came in and I was watching it when I heard the sound change and the tone change in the CNC machine. And I was sitting here watching it, trying to figure out why the tone had changed, and found out that I had... or I was sitting here watching it run, and you'll see that it got a couple passes into that last row in the last time lapse. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see I stopped it while it was in the middle of a row of cutting. Fortunately, that finishing pass was on its very last run around the outside, so I'm not going to lose that much by not finishing this finishing pass. I'm going to slow down the I didn't lose much by shutting off the roughing pass. I'm going to do the finishing pass a little bit slower than normal, because I know I have just a little bit more material than I normally would have for a pass, for the finishing. Because usually it's a 1 millimeter. I've probably got like 1 1/4, maybe 1.5 millimeters to take off with this ball nose bit on a 3D pass. So I found out after I went and got on YouTube and saved myself $100 on a new router. These DW routers are running about, or the DWP 611 router was about 120, 130 bucks, depending on where you can find them. You can't go to Home Depot and just get a new one, which is good, because if I could go to Home Depot and buy a new one, I probably would have, and never spent the time to figure out what was wrong with mine. Being honest with you guys. I opened it up and found out that the brushes had gone bad. These things right here are the brushes. And I did a video on I Save Money on YouTube if you want to see. Those are the brushes that are new. And that is the old one. And it should be about yay long. The brushes wore out. A normal, wearable, consumable part of this machine is the brushes. And they have to be replaced when they wear out. And there's no way to know before they wear out that I'm aware of. But it's one of those things that I would never have known. I only found 3 videos on YouTube about fixing this problem. I'm going to send a message to those 3 people who I saw change it and fix it, and ask their permission to put a link down below if you want to see how to fix that router problem. I did it, and I kind of talked about what I did. I'm not a mechanical person. I can't answer questions. Any question that I answer for you about this is me giving you knowledge that I learned on YouTube from watching someone else. I'll be completely honest. This is not my original knowledge. This is not me taking knowledge that I learned from fixing something else and applying it to this. This is 110% knowledge I took from someone else and I'm redistributing. So I want to give the people that I got that knowledge from some credit. So I'm going to write to those people and ask them. The links may not be there right away. I don't know how long it'll take these guys to get back to me. It may take them a few days. Not everyone's a professional YouTuber. I'm not a professional YouTuber. So I'm putting the screws back in while I'm talking here, guys. Something else I wanted to show you. If you're a CNC person, this is nothing special to you. If you don't do CNC work, this might be something neat. And I'll try and get them in front of my face. That is a burned up bit. That is a new bit. So I don't know that that really shows up that well. It doesn't look like it does. Yeah. One has almost looks like it has fire burn marks on it. The other one is nice and shiny. How you tell when your bits are getting bad. I always recommend changing your bits before you think they're bad. I may push a bit more when I'm cutting stuff out than I do on 3D CNC work. When I'm doing 3D work, depending on the size of the project, I may put a brand new bit in for every project, depending on the size of them. Just because it's such a long cut and it's such a detailed cut. And when you're doing 3D, doing the relief carve or the 3-dimensional sticking up off the board, smooth surfaces, you're cutting on just the tip of the bit, and that bit gets really, really hot when you're working. I've shut it off and touched the bit to see how hot they get. They get really hot. One of my favorite features of this router is also that it blows down. It may make a big mess in my area that I do the CNC work, but it helps cool the bits too. So I know I don't usually spend this much time in the gap between videos, and I may throw this in at the end of the video, and I may do a different section in the middle. But the next step here, we went from the 1/4 inch bit, it's going down to the 1/8 inch, and I just wanted to make sure I gave a big shout out to all those people who helped me out and helped me save a lot of money, and to thank the YouTube community for being awesome and for sharing knowledge freely and openly. It's one of the reasons that I rarely skip videos. Not skip videos, skip commercials. Any commercial that I come across on YouTube that's under 2 minutes and it has anything to do with something I'm interested in, I'll usually sit and watch them. Just because these guys have gone out of their way to give us free content. And if they're monetizing it, they're getting not much for those videos. And I want to try and give them a couple pennies, since I don't have the money to just send them, you know, a check. I'm not someone who has the extra finances right now to go join a Patreon and support someone. I'm starting up a business. I'm single, starting a business in a small town, bad economy. My real job cut me down to part-time, so I'm making ends meet and trying to start my own business. So you got to give props to these guys who are already doing it, making a living. Some of these guys aren't making a living, don't even care about the money for doing YouTube like this. You know, there's a lot of people who are sharing their knowledge to share. I grew up in a farming community. My family are great farmers. That's why I'm doing the great thing for my dad. You'll find that a lot of people share knowledge to share knowledge. They want other people to succeed, and it's not as dog-eat-dog as some people want to make the world look out there. You know, if you're living somewhere where knowledge is hoarded and you're not getting knowledge freely from other people, you might want to consider the people you're around and the people you're spending your time with. You know, perhaps that you need to consider moving someplace or going someplace or finding a community that shares knowledge freely. Knowledge is power. The more stuff we learn, the more stuff we can do. Get your power. Get your knowledge.